Welcome to the Daily B Show, episode 104 with Anthony Snell. We're going to be chatting about living the life you truly desire. Anthony has come into my world like a whirlwind. He's jacked up on energy. I love his style. I love his enthusiasm. And I just really wanted to share his enthusiasm and energy with you guys as well. He's got a great story, and I'm only starting to get into it, which is why I wanted to get into it more with him here today. And through the conversations that we've had, the short ones over the short period of time, I just love getting off the phone to Anthony because he's got so much to say, so much value to drop, and what he's doing with his coaching and with his business side is really, I can see already impacting the people around him. And so I just wanted to be there, hold this space for him, and join and collaborate with Anthony. So, mate, thank you so much for joining us.
Man, thank you so much for having me on here, dude. Basically saying I've got a big mouth and I'm like the Energizer Bunny. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, man, look, it takes one to know one. So it's what I love.
100%. 100%, man. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. As Matt just said, guys, it's been an absolute whirlwind. You know, like I think we've been following each other back and forth, you know, on Facebook, on Instagram for probably at least a couple months, 6 months, 7 months or so. But I was like, stuff it, let's actually connect. And it's been super cool, dude. I really love what you're doing with everything that you do with the Daily B Show. It's absolutely awesome. And it's super cool to be able to finally jump on and collaborate and have a bit of a chinwag.
Yeah, that's it, man. The bug's life. It is. Got Ant and the Bee.
The bug's life. The bug's life. I love that. That is so good. That's golden. Please, just precursive warning, Disney Pixar, please do not sue us.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I was thinking about that when I was playing around with that image, but at the same time, it's like, well, I'm not using it for any actual advertising.
Any publicity is good publicity, yeah, right?
That's right. So, bro, for those that haven't met you and those that don't know who you are or what you're about, tell us a little bit about where you're at right now. What's really got you jacked up and passionate about living life right now and doing what you're doing? And yeah, for those that don't know who you are.
100%, man. Thank you so much. So, yeah, guys, as Matt said, my name is Ant. It's sort of it's a nickname I didn't really get a lot a couple of years ago, and it's sort of just stuck now recently. So I'm sort of just rolling with it. But I'm from a small town over in Western Australia. When I say small, I say 30,000 people. So it's not tiny, but it's also a lot smaller than where I'm at here in Gold Coast, 500,000 people.
That?
So. Albany, so it's 5 hours south of Perth, over in Western Australia, the most southernmost point of WA. So beautiful part of the world. The people are absolutely incredible. But as with a lot of things, I found it became that small town mentality. You know, it's a very small pond, if you like. And I felt like I just kind of outgrew that. You know, I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone in the town or anything like that. Like I'm always humble, and I really do remember the roots and where I came from. But It's like I look at life 2 or 3 years ago, and my goals and ambitions were just so much different because the environment around me had just constructed this, well, cool, all I'm going to do for the next 40, 50 years of my life is work a job and try become better at it and try get a pay rise and, you know, try and chase, you know, this eternal happiness that we're promised, only to see 65-year-olds, 70-year-olds around me saying, oh, yeah, keep working hard. You'll make it happen. And they're still working a job themselves, trying to make ends meet, or, you know, broke on the pension, God forbid, you know. So it's one of those things. I just underwent a switch, and I was like, cool, I want more out of life, and I want to start chasing more. And if some people want to join me along for that journey, absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful for that. But if you don't, then I'm not going to lose sleep over that. You know, I'm pursuing my vision and trying to impact others along the way.
Yeah, it's full on, isn't it? Seeing that, you know, working hard isn't the secret.
Yeah, it's being consistent, and it's finding a smarter way to do it. You know, like you can work hard all you want, but if you're working hard in the wrong areas, then you're never going to get anywhere. Like it's just going to repeat over and over and over until, you know, something gives out.
Yeah. And like you said, there are so many people around us that are working like blood to the bone, day in, day out, doing it for decades at a time, and still in a similar position, at least materialistically, as what they were back when they started. But even psychologically as well, I think that's just a precursor to personal development. And tell me if you subscribe 100%. To this as well. But the people that I come in contact with that have made an impact in their industries, it's been in sort of alignment with their own personal development and their own inner evolution of their own consciousness and wanting to push themselves out of their comfort zone and to reach for higher capacities.
100%. And we sort of touched on this the other day when we spoke on the phone, when we were just starting to organize this, as well as it comes a lot down to emotional intelligence. And a lot of people have never even heard of emotional intelligence. It's a lot, you hear people talk about self-awareness and being conscious and, all this sort of stuff. I think a lot of it has been thrown around a lot to the point where people are just like, oh yeah, I'm conscious, I'm aware, when really they have absolutely no idea what it is. And we're all guilty of that. I know in my first, 12 months of personal development, I was like, oh yeah, emotional intelligence, like, just throwing it around, not really understanding, because not that I was naive to it or not that I didn't try to put in the work. It's just, I thought I'd already undergone the transformation and understood it. But then 6 or 12 months later, I'm like, holy crap, I've just undergone another awakening. Like what I knew 6 months ago is all wrong. Just reprogram yourself and just start taking shit in again. And so, like, as you go through this journey, and I think it definitely is a journey. I think wealth is a destination and you want to try and get there as fast as you can. But I think personal development and, growth of oneself and understanding who we are, what we are, why we are, I think understanding that is a journey, and it's a never ending one for sure.
Yeah, beautifully said, man. I love it. And I want to ask, based on the title of the talk as well, living your true purpose. Living the life you truly desire.
You truly desire, sure.
Yeah. What does that mean to you?
Well, look, as I said before, I feel, 2 years ago specifically, my life underwent a massive switch, and I was like, that's when I was in a real rut. I've always been pretty in tune with myself ever since I was a kid, since about, 10, 11, 12 years old. But I think the past 2-3 years specifically, it's really just been a whole lot of awakenings as to, holy crap, when I was driving to work, I saw everyone else driving to work, 3 or 4 lanes at a time. And it's just, everyone's just on autopilot, right? I was like, is this all we actually get to do for the rest of it? Like, you think about it, a lot of people have been doing it for 30, 40 years, the same every single freaking day. Your alarm goes off at 5, which means you got to be out of bed by 5:30, which means half an hour scrolling on Facebook or Instagram before you actually get up out of bed. And then you go to bed, and then you get out and you're like, cool, all right, well, I'll go, what have I got, half an hour to have a shower? Perfect. I'll dawdle and have my half an hour to have a shower. Then sweet, I'll go put on some coffee, make some brekkie, no worries, listen to a bit of sunrise, listen to a bit of news, something like that. Immediately bombarded with reactive crap and news that is just all negative energy and wasted energy, to be honest. And then they go out throughout the rest of their day doing that. And I looked at that and I was like, man, I don't want that to be my life. And so I sort of consciously made the decision within my own mind to be like, well, cool, where can we actually be? We're always told in life that the world is your oyster, and, do whatever makes you happy, do whatever fires you up, and it'll set you free, right? But at the same time, it's a backhanded compliment, because they can say, oh yeah, but by the way, you can't actually do that. Here's the terms and conditions. Make sure you read it thoroughly, because you're not actually able to do that, this or this, or have both at the same time, right? And so I was like, you know what? Fuck that. They say us millennials, we have attitude and all this sort of stuff. And Peter Kelly puts this absolutely perfectly, which is like, we don't have attitude. We just have a massive bullshit detector. And a lot of the shit we're being told is bullshit. Sorry, I'm swearing a lot right now.
Fuck it.
But, it's one of those things where we get told we can have everything, but then at the same time, we get told we're not allowed to have everything, nor are we allowed to have both. And so I'm super passionate about people really understanding that, yes, you can have both. You just haven't found the way to actually make both happen yet. And, so understanding that is the starting point. And then you've got to reverse engineer that and go, well, cool. What do I believe in? What are my beliefs, and where have they come from? What triggered those beliefs to be about? Right. And I think environment is immensely important. You are the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you spend time with people that are earning 20 or 30K a year, and they're miserable and they're unhappy and they're not getting to do the things that they want to do, of course, you're going to be the next person that's earning 35K, unhappy, unfulfilled, not being able to do the things that you want to do. Right. You got to just make that conscious decision to be like, you know what? There's aspects of my life that I truly love that I want to do more of, but there's also a lot of aspects that I freaking hate and I don't want to do for the rest of my life ever again. And once you can understand that and find that pleasure and pain, that's the exact process that I went through and I did to find where I want to be, it's so freeing, because you suddenly understand, or you at least have a bearing of where you want to go, right? You can drive from here in Gold Coast down to Sydney, and you can do that with Google Maps and actually have the way to get there, or you can just wing it and say, fuck it, I've never done it before, but I'm super excited, you know, like, and you take a wrong turn and you just take forever to get there, you know. So you just got to make a series of small decisions to start reprogramming your habits and your thought process as to where you actually want to be.
Take me 2 years back or before 2 years ago, before that epiphany of yours, and what sort of a space were you in, and where were you that I guess a lot of people that might be able to relate to that haven't found that
Yeah.
epiphany yet?
Yeah, for sure. And 100%, I definitely agree. You know, like, I've shared my story so much over the past couple of years. You know, being in a small town, you know, it's not like you're disassociated from the world. Obviously, we're still connected. You've got social media and you've got all that, like, you're still in touch. But I think the mindset is so, so, so different. And so, you know, my mindset in turn was a product of the environment that I was in for the past 20 years of my life growing up as a kid. You know, I was programmed to believe that living a 9 to 5 life was completely normal. Struggling to pay your bills and not make ends meet and all that sort of thing, that was completely normal, you know. And so you don't think any bigger and you don't think any different. And so I was like, cool. I was waking up every day, smoking weed a lot, like a lot. And I was sort of really getting monotonous. Like I mentioned before, you know, life wasn't exactly amazing, but it wasn't bad either. Like I was very comfortable. You know, but at the same time, it was just like, well, cool, this is not firing me up. Like I was in a bad relationship. I was, you know, not feeling myself. And it wasn't until I had a really good friend actually come back from her travels. She goes, dude, what are you doing with yourself? Like, this is not the Anthony that I know. This is not you that I know. You know, she wasn't saying that in, oh, I've got this expectation of you, so you must be this. She truly knows me on a very soulful level at who I am as a human being. And she was just like, dude, what are you actually doing? And that really, when she said that, that really meant a lot to me, because I placed a lot of value. I choose to place a lot of value on her opinion, because it's very rare that she's been wrong, right? So I trust her. You know, and so I was sort of like, well, crap, what am I doing? So, dude, I just started. I mean, with my job, I was on.
Like that was enough
Sorry?
for you. That was enough for you to really take a good hard look at yourself.
It was to start with. That was sort of that. And then I sort of blew it off, I think, for a long time. For at least a good 6 months, I sort of blew it off and thought, no. You know, I'm all good. Like, I'm headed where I want to be. But then I sort of, you know, a few things happen and you're just like, you know what? I'm really not happy like, with my job. I was working a job that I'd been at for 8 years, and then had a bit of a falling out with the boss of that company. And unfortunately, it's just, it made me feel that, you know what, this world isn't a nice place. You know, like, it is absolutely beautiful. Mother Nature is amazing, but people don't always care about your best interests. And so you've really got to learn that, yes, do be in complete gratitude for what's around you in the world. You know, do be super grateful that you've got people that love you and people that care and people that want to see you grow. But also understand you're going to have people that are going to want to, you know, take you along for the ride and help you benefit their journey and all that sort of thing without, you know, caring about benefiting yours. And so I think it's very, you know, it's one of those things that I learned real fast is to, cool, develop yourself as fast as you can. If you can have the mindset of a 50-year-old at 23 years old or at 22 years old, man, you're going to feel bad for that person when you reach their age, because of the knowledge, the wealth, the abundance, the freedom that you're going to acquire in that time, getting from 22 to 23 to 50 years old, etc. I thought, well, oh, all right, cool. Here's a little life hack, if you will. I just need to find a way how I can make enough money, make enough time in my life to have the freedom where I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. You know, and the beautiful thing about the internet is we've got so many different ways to do that, right? For me, I found network marketing scrolling on Facebook one night, you know, as you do. And that for me was my first real eye-opener to be like, shit, there's a better way. I don't have to go to work in the pouring rain and shovel pig manure into a bag for people to go and put on their gardens.
Was that literally,
you know, like, I don't have to. That's literally what I was doing. I had this epiphany, right?
That's awesome.
I was driving the Bobcat one day. I was shoveling a bucket load of pig manure into someone's trailer that was worth $35 for one scoop, right? It took me 2 minutes to put that scoop in the trailer. Yeah. And then I looked at myself and thought, shit, I'm getting paid $25 an hour after being here for 8 years, practically completely running the show. And this bucket load of shit is worth more than my time, right? And so that was a real, like,
slap in the face.
You know what? Fuck this. You know, I was just like, you know what? Stuff this. Like, this is just And it doesn't matter what job you're doing when you understand that what you're doing is undervaluing yourself so greatly unless you truly love what you do. If you love what you do, like I love what I do at the restaurant, and doing my coaching as well. Like as I said, I'm a big believer in both. So if you're happy doing what you're doing, then do both, or find a way to just make it even more worth your time. But I wasn't happy in that original circumstance, and so I decided, cool, I need to actually change this. And yeah, fast forward to here, that's basically the pivotal moment for me.
Yeah, fantastic. And so what would you say to people that are sort of in that transitional period that might need to maintain something for the time being, in the time in between finding what they're really passionate about, able to transition from their current situation or circumstance into a more fulfilling role? How do
Yeah,
they
for
marry that
sure.
up?
So I would I would look at two things essentially, especially for happiness versus value for money terms. I think a lot of people have this weird hoodoo vibe around talking about money, and I'm like, well, money, as Zig Ziglar says, isn't all that important, but it definitely ranks up there with oxygen, right? So you've got to be able to find the balance between, cool, am I happy doing what I'm doing? And is it going to pay me enough to survive, right? Or enough to thrive, enough to build the life that I truly dream of, that I truly want to create, right? So you've got to look at, cool, firstly, am I happy? If I'm not happy, perfect. I've got to find something different to actually start doing that's going to fire me up. And then next, I guess you want to look at the income that you've earned over the past 5 or 10 years. And if it's the exact same, start aiming for something a little bit higher. Start aiming to surround yourself with people who are wanting to play a life at a higher level, and start looking at what you do. For me, I work at the restaurant, managing that venue. I still work a 40-hour work week while doing my coaching on top of that. So I'm like, part of me has that patience because I'm like, well, 23, I've still got another 25 years. Obviously, I live by the mindset that you never know if you could die tomorrow. But I'm also a realist. I'm like, cool, chances of me dying tomorrow, quite slim. So I'm just like, I'm enjoying the moment at the moment, really loving connecting with people that are just playing at a higher level. They're chasing, they've got businesses already. They're running multi-million-dollar a year businesses. They're driving nice cars. They're fulfilled. They're happy. They've got a nice life. Like people that are just on our frequency. Like once you start programming your life to be that way, it's one of those things. I think it's very interesting. We get so caught up in the spiritual world and the personal development world that you can't control your life. You can't make stuff happen. And then on the same side, they also say, well, the world is your creation. What you think about, you become, and I think it's such a conflicting thing. A lot of people are confused as to what to actually do in order to change their life. It starts with your mind because you definitely do create everything in your life. Life doesn't just happen to you, it happens for you. So if you're thinking crappy, you think people are out to get you, you think all there is to life is partying and getting drunk every weekend and all that sort of stuff. Of course, that's what your life is going to look like. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be down. You're going to be hating your job. You're going to be hating your friends group. It's not until you start surrounding yourself with people who actually fire you up. Like Matt and I have had some insane conversations in like 3 phone calls. And like once you start not only reiterating your own belief of who you are and where you're going to be, without a doubt. Like I knew from the age of 12, I was going to be bowling by some time in my life before the age of 30. I from the age of 11, had a Lamborghini Gallardo sticky taped to my desk with a price tag of 350,000. I'm like, man, I'm going to drive that before I'm 30. I'm going to drive that one day. Like I've just instinctively knew that I'm going to be able to do this, right? So I think once you can solidify that belief within yourself,
Yeah.
you can really start surrounding yourself with people who believe the same things and who create that same environment for themselves, and then in turn start creating stuff together like a mastermind essentially.
Right, and that's really in line with the whole Daily B. The values of the Daily B show is believe in yourself, or know what your beliefs are. Express
Yeah.
yourself authentically. So it doesn't matter what
Yes.
you desire in life. Like whether you desire to
Yes.
be a couch wielding drunk, well then that's what you desire. So be it. Like go and
100%.
express that and be that. But if you
Yeah.
want something more, just be authentic in the way you express yourself and evolve consciously as well.
Yeah.
Which is obviously just that
Yes.
aiming higher, continuing to aim for something more. But
100%, man.
tell me, bro, like where are you at with respect to what you desire when it comes to looking to your whatever way you do it? Some people look into the future. Some people look at
Yeah.
it the way it is right now. Some people mix of
Yeah.
both. But for you, what do you desire right now?
Yeah. So for what I desire, like I know for a living fact, I have set my bar so ridiculously high for myself, right? So where I'm at now, like I am nowhere freaking near it. Like, um, but I think a lot of people get very intimidated by looking at that. You know, when they look at themselves where they are, and some people might not. Some people, it might be just a matter of I can't be bothered getting there. Like I'm comfy. Why would I want that when I've got what I've got? You know, some people it's like that.
But
For
for
me,
you
it's
though,
like,
like for you, why
yeah,
is it so important for you to set such a big goal? Because so even before you said I'm a realist, I'm like fuck that, you're not a realist. I don't believe that anyway because it's you need to be fucking crazy to dream as
yeah,
big as what you do dream. So why is it so
yeah.
imperative and important for you to have such big dreams and future thinking?
Mm. I think because now that now that the millennial uh, generation is the biggest generation on planet Earth, i.e., there is more millennials than baby boomers or anyone. I think what we say, what we do, and what we can teach is imperative to the growth of the generations that come after us, Gen Z, etc.
Mm.
Um, I think now more than ever, we have the ability to tax in on what actually happens in 3, 4, 500 years' time. So it's not just about my generation. It's not just about me. It's not just about the lives I can impact, but the ripple effect that that's going to cause 50, 60, 100 years in the future, right? So anyone can do it. I think anyone can do it. And that's why, so for me, I'm just like, well, shit, my job here, my part here is to teach as many people as I can possibly teach how to set themselves free, how to live in a quieter space of mind themselves so that they can focus and work hard on the things that are important to them.
Yeah.
Right. I think everyone has something to offer with the world. You look at Elon Musk, he's got SpaceX, he's got all that exploration sort of stuff. Like that's incredible. Imagine how many other Elon Musks are living in the millennial generation that simply don't have the time or the money to work on their true purpose and passion to where they actually want to be 50 or 100 years down the track.
Mm.
Right. So for me, that's why it's so imperative. It's not about the money or it's not about the fame or anything like that. It's about the legacy that you leave behind and the what's the word? Not a settler, but basically what settlers they start basically a movement. They start a belief. They start a
Innovators or
like an innovator. Yeah, I guess pioneer. Pioneer is the word I
pioneer.
was looking for. Being a pioneer of change. Over the next couple hundred years.
Mm.
I think we've
Yeah.
got that in the palm of our hands right now. We truly do.
Well, it's inevitable
Like
that it's going to
crazy.
happen. It's just what side of the fence are you going to be on? Are you going to be on the side of the
Yeah.
fence that's making shit happen, or are you going to be on the side of the fence that's watching shit happen? And so
Yeah.
it's really
100%.
up to you. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's a matter of when and how much involvement you're
Mm,
going to have. So that's again why I feel it's so important to really discover what you're passionate about
yeah.
because you'll be willing to go balls deep on it. You'll be willing to get up early and stay up late and go through
Mm,
the bump and grind day to day to get it done.
100%.
Because without that, you'll just quit. You'll be distracted by shiny things out the side.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing a lot of people encounter when they first start looking into cool, all right, I do want to pursue my passion. How do I go about it?
Mm.
They get stuck on the first step of how to go about it. They overthink it. They overcomplicate it too much. I think people are like, I need to find a passion right in this second, right in this very second. Oh wait, the second's gone. I'm screwed. Like I'm a failure in life. I think it comes
I
from
can relate to
having
that.
these sorts of hey.
I can relate to that. I've gone through that. I remember
Yeah,
hearing
like
people talk about passion and going, "What the fuck is this passion? Like, I'm not passionate about anything. I need to figure this
yo,
out."
can you help me find my passion? I think I've lost it.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things, and I think people overcomplicate it. It comes from conversations like this where you get fired up on a topic,
Mm.
and you're just like, "Holy crap! Like I could talk about this for hours." It comes from watching a video or listening to a podcast or listening to a song, and you have a little thought, your brain wanders for a second. You're like, dude, that would be a sick cause to follow. That would be something that would completely change the world. And I think for me, like I'm massive into nature and hiking and, being able to explore the natural world the way that we can and preserving that. I think that's such a cool thing. I've always aspired to be David Attenborough, since I was young, like, cool. I'm like, that dude is freaking cool,
Yeah,
and,
so cool.
So it's about when you were 12 years old, what made you happier than anything else in the world? I remember I went shopping with my dad in Perth not long ago. Oh, sorry. When I say not long ago, I mean when I was a kid.
That's I've got such a bad habit for that.
Literally, I've got such a bad habit for that. Anyways, no, I remember we were up in Perth. We're in the shops. We're in the city, and I saw this Ferrari. And Dad was just like, oh, like my son would love to have a sit in this. Can he have a sit in it? And I sat in it, and my mind was just freaking blown. I was like, dude, I've got this Lamborghini stuck to my desk. A Ferrari is like the next, like even better again, So my mind was just blown. And so I think that was a really important memory for me to have, because I already know that smell. Like, I know what it feels to sit in that car. I'm going to have that one day. Like, I know that, I'm rock solid in that. And I think being able to teach people how to find their passion and find what fires them up like that, that's what fires me up. It's super cool.
So they say there's approximately 2 to 3 major achievements that need to be made along the path to achieve your big dream, right? So sure. Something similar to that. So I'd love to hear, in a sort of a nutshell, what sort of directions you give to people who maybe have just found their passion or still on that hunting process, and the sort of the steps that you are personally taking yourself to achieve your desired lifestyle. And for people that are finding someone to follow suit and be inspired by, what is it you're doing? What are the sort of simple steps that you're trying to tick off along the way to achieve that other people could sort of follow suit with?
Yeah. So I think for me, just in terms of my game plan, obviously, like I say, like I'm so open to stuff going wrong. It goes wrong all the freaking time. I think immediately
you need shit to go wrong.
Exactly right. You learn from your failures, not from your successes, right? So I think the number one thing to do immediately is understand that it's going to be a long journey. Like whatever you're doing, it's going to take a massive amount of stamina. It's going to take a massive amount of patience. It's going to take a massive amount of blood, sweat, tears, and love to chase your passion and make whatever you want to do come to fruition, right? I think that's the biggest one. Number two is you've got to be able to decipher the difference between working hard and being busy. I think for me especially, I struggle a lot with procrastination. It's something that I'm working on tirelessly. I listened to a book recently by Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Workweek, and he talks a lot about maximizing productivity in the time that you are doing the do. I think for me, like, I don't like I love connecting with people. So I'm like, if there's something to be at, like, I'm like, cool, I'm there. I want to meet friends, but at the same time, he's like, well, cool. In that time where you are putting in the work, make sure you're putting in 150,000%. So I think for me, a big switch, number two, being that you got to decipher between hard work and being busy. It took a little bit of a taking the ego, swallowing the pride, and being like, you know what, I have been busy, but I've not really been putting in the hard work. I've not actually been putting in the work that I need to do to get where I need to be. With the bar that I've set myself.
A bit of a reframe as well with respect to hard work, because of obviously how we've come into the conversation talking about hard work and that aspect. But I'd reframe that to being productive work instead of between being busy and being actually productive, as opposed to hard work, because you can be working hard and being busy but getting fuck all done. But you can work smart and hard and be productive as well. I think that's
I think it's that matter of both. It's working hard and working smart. So that's like we touched on earlier in the episode. It's very easy sometimes to say that you're busy, to say that you're getting stuff done when really you're not. And it just takes that honesty with yourself to be like, look, I'm not actually putting in the effort that I need to be putting in to get to where I've set my bar. You know, like if you've set your bar super high, like you want to be in the top 3% of the world's, you know, wealthiest people, then you've got to start putting in that work. And I think it's something that I work on every day. And I think it's something that every single person that's watching this or listening to this currently, or, you know, previously, I think it's one of those things where a lot of people can struggle to actually be productive with the time that they've got.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And number 3 would be whatever fires you up, like literally genuinely fires up, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter if people say it's not possible. It doesn't matter if people say it's too crazy. It doesn't matter if people say that's never going to freaking work. You know, back to Elon Musk, you know, how many people would have told him, no, you can't build an electric car that's going to be more powerful than the, you know, the fastest petrol car. No way you're going to be able to do that. You know, petrol is king. You know, people thought he was crazy at the start, as they did with a lot of the world's most pivotal political figures and, you know, engineers and designers and, you know, world who's a who's, right? It's one of those things where you got to be able to commit to that 100% and take everything someone says with a grain of salt. If it works for you and you can apply it, then cool, take that on board. You know, you got to evolve yourself over time, but also be firm with what you believe in and what you believe is possible. Commit to that and don't let anyone stop you.
Bro, we're going to jump off. I really appreciate you jumping on and sharing all this with everyone.
All good,
and
my man.
Blessing us with your energy. And yeah, I know there's a lot of nuggets for people to get out of that. So thank you so much. And I look forward to the next one. Bugs Life, bro. Let's rock and roll. And I'm looking forward to, just growing with you, bro, along the way.
Thank you so much, man. Likewise, thank you so much for having me on. And enjoy your night, folks. Cheers.
Peace out.